Hello students, welcome to the class of science. Today we are going to start chapter 15, some natural phenomena. Since in earlier classes we read about winds, storms and cyclones. We all learned that cyclones are destructive natural phenomena that can cause a lot of destruction to human beings. So we can protect ourselves from cyclones to some level by taking timely actions. In this particular chapter, we will discuss about two other natural phenomena, that is lightning and earthquakes. Okay. Also we will discuss about the various steps which can be taken to reduce the destructions caused by lightning and earthquakes. So let us move to the first topic, lightning. Sometimes we see sparks on electric pole when due to wind flow and due to the wire becomes loose. Okay, sometimes we also see sparks when the plug is loose in the socket. So what is lightning? Lightning is also an electrical spark but on a large scale. Okay students, and it can be deadly and cause the destruction of life and property. Okay, in ancient time people were unaware of the cause of lightning and hence they were scared of it. Nowadays, scientists have evolved some precautions that can help us to protect ourselves from this natural phenomena. Okay. So, what is lightning? Lightning is an electric discharge or an electric sparks that occurs in nature on a major scale, and it is caused by the accumulation of charges in the clouds. Okay, students. Now let us move to the next paragraph. The Greeks were already aware of the electric charges from 600 BC. They knew that when amber is a type of resins or synthetic polymer. So when amber is rubbed with fur, then amber can attract light objects like hair. Okay. Similarly, woolen cloths or polyester cloths attracts hair and can produce a little spark or crackling sound when they are taken off from the body. This is because of the electric charges. Okay. Benjamin Franklin was an American scientist who in 1752 discovered and proved that lightning and spark produced from these cloths are the same things. So students, let us study the some properties of electric charges, and we shall also discuss how they are related to the lightning. Okay. So let us perform some activities to understand the nature of electric charges. So our next topic is charging by rubbing. Means when we rub two objects with each other, then they get charged. For example, when you rub a plastic scale on your dry hair, the scale can attract very small pieces of paper because charge develop on the object. So let us understand it more with the help of activity 15.1. In this activity, firstly take a used ball pen refill and rub it vigorously with a piece of polythene. Okay, now bring it close to the pieces of paper. We notice that the refill attracts the tiny pieces of paper. Okay, and you can repeat this activity with small pieces of dry leaves, husk, mustard seeds, and you have to note down your observation. So from this activity we can conclude that when the plastic refill rubbed with polythene, then it starts acquiring a small electric charge. In the same manner, when a plastic comb is rubbed with dry hair, then it acquires a small charge. These objects are called charged object. Okay. On the other hand, polythene and hair also acquire some charge, so they are also called charge object. Now let us move to the activity 15.2. Students, in this activity, when these objects rubbed with these materials, then they becomes charged. Okay, and this charged object will attract the pieces of paper. Okay students, now let us move to the next topic, types of charges and their interaction. Students, there are two types of charges, that is positive charge and negative charge. Let us understand it with the help of some activities that is given here. So let us see activity 15.3. In this activity, you have to use two balloons and inflate them, okay, and hang them such a way that they do not touch to each other. After that, you have to rub both the balloons with woolen cloths and release them. Then we notice that the two balloons move apart from each other, okay, means they are pushing away from each other. Because balloons are made up of the same materials, therefore they acquire similar charges after rubbing with woolen cloth. So they repel each other. Means same charges develop on it. So they pushing each other. Okay, students. Now let us see next activity. In this activity, you have to use a used ball pen refill. Okay, then you have to rub this refill with a piece of polythene and you have to keep it in the glass. Okay, then again you have to take the second one refill and again you have to rub it and bring near the first one refill. Then you observe that both refill moves away from each other. Okay, because both refills are made up of the same materials, so after rubbing both acquires the same charges. That's why they repel to each other. Okay, students, now again let us perform other activity. In this activity, take a ball pen refill, means used ball pen refill, and rub it. Now you have to put in the glass tumbler. Now you have to bring an inflated charged balloon near the charged refill. Then you'll observe that this charged refill moves towards the charged balloon. This activity indicates that both the object having opposite charges. That's why this charged refill moves towards the charged balloon. Okay, means anyone have positive and other have negative. So from this activity, we observe that a charged balloon repelled a charged balloon, a charged refill repelled a charged refill, but a charged balloon attracted a charged refill. Means same charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. Okay. Here it is true. When glass rod is rubbed with the silk cloth, then glass rod becomes positively charged and silk cloth becomes negatively charged. So students, when you bring this charged glass rod near the charged plastic straw, then both shows attraction. Here the glass rod having positive charge, so the plastic straw must have negative charge. That's why both shows attraction. Okay. The electric charges generated by rubbing are static. Static means they do not move themselves. But when charge begins to move, then it is called electric current. So these currents are nothing but a motion of charges. Okay. Now let us move to the next topic, that is transfer of charge. Let us understand it with the help of figure 15.4. Students, here you have to take an empty glass jar with a wide mouth. Okay, now take a sheet of cardboard big enough to cover the mouth of the jar. Now you have to make a small hole in the cardboard sheet. Now open the paper clip from one end and insert it in the hole. Okay, like this. After, you have to take two aluminum foil of size about 4 cm by 1 cm. Okay, and hang this two aluminum foil on the loop end of the paper clip. Okay, after that you have to place the cardboard sheet on the mouth of the jar according to this figure. Now you have to bring a charged plastic refill near the end of the paper clip. Then you find that the two aluminum foil at the bottoms of the clip repel each other. Why this happen? Because when you bring this charged refill near the end of this paper clip, then charge transfer through this metal clip to the aluminum foil. Here aluminum foil receive the same charge from the charge refill through the paper clip. Okay, that's why there is a repulsion between the aluminum foil strips. Okay, what is electroscope? It is a device and it is used to test whether an object carrying charge or not. Okay, students, so we find that electric charge can be transferred from a charged object to another through a metal conductor. Now you have to repeat again some activity. Touch the end of the paper clip with your hand. Okay, then you'll find that this aluminum foil strips back to their original position. Why this happens? Students, actually when we touch the paper clip with our hand, then the electric charge present on the charge strips flow to the earth throughout the body. So here we can say that the foil strips are discharged. Okay. And the process of transferring of charge from the charge object to the earth is called earthing. Okay. That's why earthing is provided in buildings to protect us from the electrical shocks due to any leakage of the electrical current. Now let us move to the next topic, the story of lightning. During a thunderstorm, hot air moves upward, okay, and raindrops falls downward, okay, and this movement causes a separation of charges, okay. As a result, negative charges gets accumulated at the lower edges of the clouds and positive charges accumulated at the upper edges of the clouds, and ground is accumulated with a positive charges all over, okay. And if the quantity of the opposite electrical charge on the top and bottom becomes very large, in that condition what happens? Air is a poor conductor of electricity, but due to this heavy charge, it is unable to restrict the electrical flow after some time. Means to say that air is unable to resist their flow. Finally, positive and negative charges meet. Okay, and when positive and negative charges meet, then it produces streaks of bright light and sound. And this bright light seen as a lightning. Okay, students. And the process of electric discharge can occur between the two or more clouds or between the clouds and earth. This electric discharge occurs between the two clouds or between the clouds and earth. Some safety we have to take during the lightning. Let us understand it. One should not stay at an open place during lightning and thunderstorm. Hence, as soon as we hear any alert about the lightning or thunderstorm, then we should rush to a safe place such a house or a building. Okay, if somebody is in a car or bus, they should stay inside the car or bus and keep all the doors and window closed. When you are outside, in that condition, you should not stay in an open place such as an open vehicle like motorbike, tractor, or open field, okay, and elevated places, okay. And one should not carry any umbrella during the storm. If a person is around a forest, they should hide under short trees and stay away from the poles or other metal objects, okay, students, and squat low on the ground like this position, okay. But when you are inside the house, in that condition, you have to also take some precautions. Like you have to use cordless phone or mobile phone in an emergency case. Okay. And you should not take bath. And you should unplug all the electrical appliances in the house. For example, TV, computer or music system. Okay. Now let us see next topic, lightning conductor. What is lightning conductor? Lightning conductor is a device used to protect buildings from the effect of lightning. It is lightning conductor. It consists of a thick strips of metal. Okay, and the top end of the lightning conductor is pointed. You can see here. Okay. which is fixed above the highest point of the building. So from the top of the building, this thick metal strip run along the outer wall of the building to the ground. Okay, students, and the lower end of the metal strip is joined to the metal plate. It is buried deep in the earth. Okay, thus it provides an easy route for the transfer of electric charge to the ground. So, in case if lightning strike, then it hits the top of the lightning conductor instead of building. Okay, the electric energy of the lightning which passes through the metal strip gets discharged safely to the ground through the buried metal plate. Okay, so this is the working of lightning conductor. Now let us know about earthquakes. Students, as we read in the previous classes about the cyclones and thunderstorms, these natural phenomena can cause large-scale destruction of human life and property. Fortunately, these two natural phenomena can be predicted in advance to some extent. But earthquakes is a natural phenomena which cannot be predicted in advance till now. So, it can cause damage to human life and property on a huge scale. Some important question is here. Let us discuss in this chapter what is an earthquake. Okay, what happens when it occurs, what can we do to minimize its effects. So let us now answer our first question. What is an earthquake? An earthquake is a sudden shaking or trembling of the earth which lasts for a very short time. It is caused by disturbance deep inside the earth's crust. Okay, earthquakes occurs all the time, all over the earth, but they are not even noticed. Major earthquakes are much less frequent, but on the same side they are very dangerous. They can damage the buildings, bridges, dams and people. Okay, earthquakes can cause floods, landslides and tsunamis. What is tsunamis? Tsunamis is a type of earthquake occurs under the ocean floor which generate powerful sea waves. Okay, now let us know what causes an earthquake. Before, let us study the structure of earth. The earth consists of three layers, that is crust, mantle and core. Okay, crust is the outermost layer of the earth. Okay, and mantle is the central region of the earth, and core is the innermost layer of the earth. Okay, students, and this core is extremely hot region. The outermost layer of the earth is not in one piece. It is fragmented, and each fragment is called a plate. And these plates are always moving. Okay, and when they move past each other or collide, then disturbance are caused in the earth crust. Okay, and these disturbance are called earthquakes or tremors. Okay, students. Now, what are the other causes of earthquake? Other causes of earthquakes are volcanic eruption, when a meteor hits the earth's surface. Okay, and the nuclear explosion under the earth's surface. These are the other causes of earthquakes. Now, let us know about the fault zones or seismic zones. Let us know about it. As we know that earthquakes are caused by the movement of plates, and the boundaries of the plates are the weak zones where earthquakes are more likely to occur, and these weak zones are known as seismic zones or fault zones. Okay, now let us know about the Richter scale. What is Richter scale? A scale which is used to determine the magnitude or strength of an earthquake is called Richter scale. Okay, and destructive earthquakes have a Richter scale magnitude of more than 7. Okay, students, now let us study about it more from the figure 15.13 and figure 15.14. First, let us know what is seismic waves, what is epicenter and what is focus. The earthquake produces waves on the earth's surface which are called seismic waves. Okay, and these waves travel in all directions on earth's surface. Okay, and what is focus of an earthquake? The focus of an earthquake is a point inside the earth's surface where the earthquakes originates. Okay, and this focus is also known as hypocenter. And what is epicenter? Epicenter uh, is the region on the earth's surface that lies just above the focus of the earthquake. Okay, so these are the important points. Now let us study about seismograph. What is seismograph? The instrument used to measure seismic waves is called seismograph. Okay, and it consists of pendulum bob or vibrating rod suspended with a string. And you can see here pen is attached with a bob. Okay, and a roll of graph paper is placed on this rotating drum that is fixed to the base of seismograph. The instrument is fixed to the ground. When the earth moves, the base also moves and the tip of the pen records this movement on the graph paper. Means pen records these seismic waves on a paper, and by studying these waves, scientists can construct a complete map of earthquake. Okay students, and they can also calculate its power to cause destruction. Now let us move to our next topic, protection against earthquakes. As we know that earthquakes are highly destructive and they cannot be predicted. So it is important that we should take precaution in order to protect ourselves all the times. So some important precaution which can be taken by the people living in the seismic zones are as follows. Let us say people should always consult architects and engineers before constructing a new buildings. Okay, the roof of the building should be kept light. Timber or mud should be used in construction or building rather than heavy materials. The shelf and cupboard should be fixed to the walls so that they do not fall off easily. Things such as photo frames, water heater, clocks, and other wall hanging should be placed in a place that does not harm anybody if they fall off. Okay, and buildings should have fire fighting equipments. Now, you should take precaution when you are at home. In that condition, take a shelter under a table or stay till the shaking stops. Now stay away from the tall or heavy object. If you are in bed, then do not get up and protect your head with a pillow. And when you are outside, then you have to find a place which has no buildings and no trees. Okay, if a person is in the car in that condition, uh, you should drive slowly to a clear place and be inside until the earthquake stops. Okay students, so these are the precautions you should take during the earthquakes. Okay, now your chapter completed. These all points are very important. You have to learn all these points. Okay students, I hope all of you understood the chapter. Thank you.